All right, so good morning, everyone. I'm Danielle McFadden. I'm the president of the Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce. So excited to be here with my friends from the SBA, Lisa Gonzalez, Welch, and Oreste, Varela. They are the experts in everything PPP, EIDL. They've been living and breathing it for the last 10 months, whether or not they wanted to, they have been. So we thank them for being there. I also encourage everybody to put your name and contact information in the chat. I will save the chat at the end, and I will send this recording and the chat via email to everybody that registered. So you'll have all of that information. But without further ado, I'm going to kick it off to Lisa and Oreste.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone. And first and foremost, Danielle, I want to thank you for hosting this program today and inviting Oreste and I. My name is Lisa Gonzalez Welch. I'm with the Massachusetts SBA District Office, one of a team of 14, and I'll let Oreste introduce himself.
My name's Oreste Varela, and while Lisa is like one of 13 people, I guess, or we are one of 13 in, or two of 13, head of our Boston office. I'm actually in the Springfield office, so I'm the only one out there. I cover Western Mass. But ever since COVID, we've been helping each other all over the state. So whatever we need, we're here to help.
It truly amazes me too that you're such a small team, and I mean the volume that you have been doing even prior to COVID, but now it's outstanding. So we want to thank you for all of your hard work championing businesses throughout the Commonwealth.
And Danielle, to be honest, we couldn't do it without our community partners like the chambers, like your chamber. So thank you for all that you do too. So let me bring up, I'm going to share my screen. So let me do that first. And let me put it on, whatever you call this thing. What is that, slideshow mode? Okay.
Works.
Great. So good morning, everyone, again. Here we are. You have my contact information as well as Oreste's. So Danielle, if later on you want to share, you certainly can share it with the attendees.
Thank you.
So what we're going to do today is give you an update of the PPP EIDL and what's new. There's been a lot of changes and updates that have been taking place. And there goes my camera, so bear with me. My it's acting up, but I'm here. You can hear me, right, Danielle?
We can hear you.
Technology,
Roger that.
I love it. So this is wave number 3. So let me give you a little bit of background on the PPP. It initially started in early April, I guess, through the summer. Many changes took place with a lot of guidance. By the end of May, the funds started running out. And then Congress appropriated more funds to the program, which went through the first week in August. So the PPP second wave was shut down on August 8th. And here we are. Economic Aid Relief Act was signed after the holidays. And there's a lot of funds going out to the small business community to assist small businesses so till we get through this. So that's what it's really intended for. So
Lisa, before you get into the nuts and bolts, just for everyone, what the plan is, if you have questions, Danielle just put it in the chat box, and then what we wanted to do is kind of get through the presentation, and then put questions in the chat box, and then we'll if I can, I'll answer them on the fly in the chat box, and then otherwise we'll do Q&A at the end.
Okay. Thank you, Oreste.
Back to you.
Thank you, Danielle. So let's give you a quick breakdown of where the funds are appropriated. And here on this slide is a listing of what was based on the Appropriation Act. So as you can see, $284.45 billion was set aside for PPP first and second draw loans, $15 billion for shuttered live venues. That's for industries like the theaters, museums. We are awaiting guidance on that. That is not open yet. That's applications are not out yet, so stay tuned. And we're going to share with you where you can get the most up-to-date information on SBA, so you'll know everything as quickly as Oreste and I know it. $20 billion was placed for the EIDL Advance Program, $3.5 billion for the 7(a) Debt Relief Program, and $2 billion for the SBA Lending Enhancement programs, which is our regular SBA lending programs. And we're going to talk about that in just one bit. So hopefully this is going to provide funding for all of those small businesses that can benefit from it for those who weren't able to apply before. So please, make sure that you avail yourself to the resources that are there for you. So we have the Paycheck Protection Program, first draw, second draw. We have the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. We have the SBA Lending Programs, which we're going to talk about in debt, and the SBA Debt Relief. So let's get into the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program, right? Well, a little bit of background on the third wave. SBA intended to roll this out in phases, really. Initially, it was open to CFRs, to community development financial institutions. Right now, it's open to everybody. So any lending institution can submit PPP applications, okay? If you don't know where to go to apply for a PPP, or if you don't have a lender, you can always go to Lender Match. Lendermatch.gov is kind of like the match.com between lending institutions and entrepreneurs. So you can go in and you fill out a 2-page application, is viewed by 300 SBA participating lenders within 2 days. Those lenders who may be interested and may be able to help you will reach out to you. And it's up to you whether you want to pursue and move forward with the application. So that's a way to maybe identify a lender that can give you the financing that you're looking for. Whoops. Here we go. Okay, so let's talk about the Economic Aid Enhancement Act, right? And the PPP Eligibility and Forgiveness Updates. So many are the same, but we added some organizations which were not eligible in the first and second wave. As you can see, under the eligibility, we have business entities like partnerships, corporations, LLC, sole proprietors, independent contractors, self-employed individuals, 501c3s, one of the new ones, 501c6s, and what I think of when I think of a 501c6, that's right, Danielle, chambers of commerce. Also, we have 501 veterans organizations, tribal businesses, and in addition, housing cooperatives, destination marketing organizations, eligible new organizations. They have to comply with the size standard eligibility criteria, and there are certain limitations. So borrowers now have the option. The other new thing is to really select their covered period between 8 to 24 weeks. Initially, when the program was rolled out, it was really stated at 8 weeks, but right now you have, as a business owner, the option to select a covered period between 8 to 24 weeks, whatever you feel that works best for you. We're also, great news, SBA is no longer going to be deducting the EIDL advance from the forgiveness payment. If you remember, what happened was in the past, really what the way that it worked is under the CARES Act, they really kind of lumped together the EIDL advance and the PPP. It was looked at a grant, both of them. And the way that it's really placed is no one business can receive 2 grants. So right now that's being, if the lender has already received payment for the EIDL advance, they're going to provide a reconciliation payment to be applied to your outstanding balance. You're going to be getting kind of like a refund. And if you haven't submitted your loan forgiveness application, don't worry, it'll be okay. So also the SBA forgiveness application includes for loans $150,000 or under, that's being really minimized. So that's going to make it much easier for you, the small business owner. So let's talk about the first draw for PPP loan and eligibility. And this is for anybody who has never applied for PPP. And the first draw really went out through the summer, spring, I guess, eligible entities with 500 employees or less. So that's the guideline right there, 500 employees or less, including nonprofits, veterans organizations, self-employed individuals, with entities with more than 500 employees in certain industry that meet the alternative site standard can also apply. Now, businesses with next codes that begin with 72, that's the accommodation, for example, industry, service sector, eligible news organizations with no more than 500 employees for physical location, and 501c6s organization or destination marketing that would be with no more than 300 employees. So make sure that you look at the eligibility to ensure that you meet those criteria. And following on under the first draw, PPP loan details, borrowers can apply for first draw PPP until March 31st, 2021. So again, the deadline right now is March 31st, 2021, or until the funds are exhausted. That might change. Oreste and I and the rest of the team work every day getting updates and guidance. So as information comes through, we'll make sure that we share it with all of you so you know, but right now it's March 31st, 2021, okay? And that's through any SBA participating lender or through any federally insured depository institution. So again, if you don't have one, you can certainly go to that website that I mentioned under the SBA website, the lender match, to find a lender that might be able to provide the funding that you're looking for. Now, existing PPP borrowers that did not receive loan forgiveness are subject to the available reapply for the first draw. So let's say that, Danielle, you applied for PPP and then you said, you know what, I don't think I'm going to need this funding now. You would be able to reapply for the first draw. Now, if Danielle applied and she got the funding and she's going to need additional, just make sure that you're applying for that you look at your situation and that you apply for the right draw. So first draw PPP loans that only included amounts necessary for payroll costs, partnership employees, and other eligible operating expenses, but did not amount for the partner compensation. The seasonal employer would be eligible for an increase if application resulted in the calculation of a higher amount. It was different, that you needed more. And all new first draw PPP loans will have the same terms regardless of the lender, okay, or the borrower. So that's something that we just want to stress to you as well. So now let's talk about the second draw for PPP. This is really targeted to small businesses who really did not have the opportunity to apply or have or need funding. So it's targeted really to eligibility, a borrower who's generally eligible for PPP second draw if he was eligible for a previously received PPP first draw loan. He was or will use the full loan amount only for eligible expenses. So again, let's say, Danielle, you applied for PPP the first time and you are going to be applying for the second time. Danielle, you have to show that you use your first draw PPP funds, or that they have been, or that basically you have set them aside to be used towards eligible expenses. So you have to be able to demonstrate that before you can be, accepted for the second draw. Also, you can have no more than 300 employees, and you have to demonstrate at least a 25, and this is new, 25% reduction in gross receipts between comparable quarters of 2019 and 2020. So you can pick any period between 2019 and 2020 that are the same, and you have to be able to demonstrate that there's a 25% reduction in gross receipts. Also, eligible borrowers can apply for a second draw PPP loan until March, as you know, through any SBA 7A lender, federally insured institution, For most borrowers, the maximum loan amount for the second draw PPP cannot exceed 2.5 times average monthly 2019 or 2020 payroll cost, up to $2 million. Whoops.
You're breaking up a little bit, Lisa.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Can you hear me, Oreste? Did that come through?
Not sure.
I could hear you.
You could hear me?
Yep.
Oreste trying to cause trouble there.
Or unless it's on my end that it's messing
Those
up.
SBA folks are always causing trouble. No. Just kidding. We love you.
So let me repeat that again. And Oreste, if you can't, please
Keep
jump
going.
in.
I think it's my end.
Oh, it's on his end. Okay, so for most borrowers, the maximum loan amount on the second draw PPP is to be 2.5 times the average monthly 2019 or 2020 payroll cost, up to $2 million, okay? Also, the borrowers in accommodation in the food service sector, the maximum amount for the second draw PPP loan is 3.5. So that's different, 3.5 times the average monthly 2019 payroll costs, up to $2 million. So let's talk about the streamlined forgiveness now. The PPP second draw loan applications must use the SBA form 2483 SD. And we have all of this, which we're going to share with you. So don't be like, oh my God, what is she talking about? So check with your lender in case they're using a third-party online application service. Your lender would have all that information and they can help you to do this. Also, calculating your borrower's payroll cost for the second draw PPP loan is either the 12-month period prior to when the loan is made or calendar year of 2019. If you're using the 2019 as basis for calculating your PPP second draw loan and you're going through the lender, no need to provide documentation to support the request loan amount, since your lender's already received such documentation. So don't feel like you have to redo that again. Under the Economic Aid Act, the simplified forgiveness process for loans, we simplified the forgiveness process for loans under $150,000, as I stated, and there's no upfront documentation for revenue reduction on loans under $150,000, both until loan forgiveness time to submit such documentation. So you don't need to do that, then just wait till the forgiveness period. So how can you use the PPP loan? How can the PPP loans be used? Too many P's. The enhancement to the eligible payroll and non-payroll expenses, right? Well, payroll costs as defined in the CARES Act, Economic Aid Act, and in the interim final rules, costs related to the continuation of group health care, life, disability, vision, dental benefits during the periods of paid sick, medical, or family leave, group health care, life, disability, vision, and dental insurance premiums. Also covered periods expenditures, any business software or cloud to facilitate the business operation. So that's something that's new. Service delivery, the processing of payment track, payroll expenses, billing functions. Also covered property damage costs. Let's say that, I don't know, there was some riots or something and your property unfortunately received some damage. That's something that you can look at. Also covered work protection expenditures, PPE equipment to keep everybody safe. First draw and second draw PPP loans made to eligible borrowers qualify for full loan forgiveness if during the 8 to 24-week covered period following the loan disbursements, the employee and compensation levels are maintained. So that is really, really important, okay? So let's say that some of your employees don't want to come back. You had 6 employees. Let's say 2 of them don't want to come back. That's unfortunate, but that you can get 2 other employees. It doesn't have to be the same individuals. You just have to make sure that the levels are maintained. The loan proceeds are spent on payroll costs and other eligible expenses, and at least 60% of the proceeds are spent on payroll costs. So make sure that you keep track of this. Make sure you document everything, just in case. As always. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to the lender that you're working with. Oreste, you're back. And our resource partners, which we're going to talk about.
I wanted to emphasize the number one way or in order to receive 100% forgiveness is what Lisa just mentioned. 60% of proceeds are spent on payroll. Like she previously mentioned, the previous slide, you can use it on this, you can use it on that, you can use it on the other thing. That's wonderful. But the minimum is 60%. You can use 100% of it on salary. All right. So it's not like you have to hit this mark you do to get 100% forgiveness. So it's 60% or more goes to salary and you will be 100% forgiven. Now there's these other things about the employee compensation levels. Now, I think recently it came out that if the PPP is 50,000 or less, that this employee compensation levels are waived. But anyway, I just want to emphasize about that 60% and how important that is.
Thank you, Oreste. And that's really critical. A lot of folks don't seem to pay much attention, and that's really important if you want it to be forgiven. So SBA, the terms, SBA, guarantees 100% of the loan, no collateral requirement, no personal guarantee. The interest rate is 1%. It's a 5-year maturity. The it's processed through a PPP lender. Again, if you don't have a lender, you can go to that lender match to identify a lender who might be able to work with you. And again, the loan amount is 2.5 times the monthly payroll and 3.5 times the monthly payroll for that code 72 that I mentioned earlier, like those other industries. So the loan forgiveness steps. You're going to contact your PPP lender. You're applying through a lender for the PPP. So we can't stress that enough. It's not the SBA. You're going to be working with your lender. So contact your PPP lender and complete the correct form. Make sure you have all your documentation. Submit the forgiveness form and documentation to your lender and continue to work with your lender throughout the process. It's really important. There's 3 types of forgiveness forms, and we're going to show them to you. Each application has their own set, and if you have, any questions, you can work with our resource partners, which I'm going to share with you, that can assist you. So let's
also, Lisa, I wanted to jump in here too. And the thing is, in terms of the forms, 9 times out of 10, you're not downloading the forms, filling them out, and sending them to the lender. Typically, what happens, you're going to log on to the lender's. They have a website, a portal, and you're going to fill out the forgiveness form online. So anyway, so just keep that in mind. You can certainly download the link, download the forms, review them, fill them out, but odds are your lender has something set up where you're going to do it online.
Thank you, Oreste. That's a good point. So it's much easier for you. So let's give you the updates on the SBA forms real quick. The 3508S. This is PPP forgiveness application for loans of $150,000 and under. So these can be used for both the first and second draw PPP application. It can be used to combine loans into one application. It requires less calculations, less documentation for those borrowers who are eligible. It doesn't really require you to show your calculations to determine your loan forgiveness amount. However, the lender may request information and documents to review those calculations as part of its loan review or audit process. One thing I think we want to stress, and Oreste, I think you would agree, you have to remember, you're filling this out. It's on you, not the lender, not SBA. You're going to be responsible for the information that you provide and you submit. So please make sure that you keep track and that you can fill it out to the best of your knowledge and that you can back up what you're providing. If this loan forgiveness application is being submitted for for the draw for the PPP loan, the borrower has to submit simultaneously to the lender documentation supporting the gross receipt reduction certification on the borrower's loan application. So again, the lender will be able to help you. And we have also SBA resource partners that can help you as you try to figure out which application you should be submitting, what would best address your needs. Now, this shuttered venue operation, SBO Grant Program, this is something that SBA is coming out. It was consolidated appropriations from the Act of 2021. It's it's a program funding of $15 billion, of which $2 billion must be set aside for small businesses, for those having no more than 50 full-time employees. For only the first 600, we begin award for the SBO grants. We don't have an application. We're still awaiting for guidance on this program, so stay tuned. But it's really intended for live venue operators or promoters, museum operators, motion picture theater operators, and think of the arts, I guess, live performing art organization operators, talent representatives, which this industry has been hit severely, as you can imagine, because of the pandemic. You know, how many of us are going to the theater or anything like that, or the museums or anything? So stay tuned, because more information will be forthcoming. It's not open yet, but it should be coming soon. So as soon as we hear, we'll certainly share that information with you.
Yeah, and Lisa, I put the website in the chat box.
Okay.
And actually, by the end of today, there's supposed to be some updates there. So check that website, or if you are one of these type of entities, take a look at it later today, or the end of today should be out. There should be some guidance, at least to determine eligibility.
Danielle, we didn't hear your woohoo. Come on. Woo-hoo! There we go, much better. Under this program, you must have been in operation as of February 29th, 2020. You have to be a venue or promoter, must not have received a PPP loan. So you cannot, this is important, you cannot apply for PPP and this Shutters Venue Operators Grant Program. So it's really important to really, I guess, take a good look at your needs and see which program is going to best work for you. The PPP is open. As Oreste shared, we're going to be getting more guidance and information this afternoon on the Shutters venue. So make sure that you take a look at both and see which one is going to work best for you and your business, since you don't have the ability to apply for both. It can only be one or the other. So again, detailed information coming up very soon this afternoon, and priorities are anticipated for smallest entities and hardest hit. So again, additional guidance will be forthcoming. So one thing also that took place is that there was an enhancement to the SBA's lending programs. As you know, SBA, under our regular lending, we provide SBA-backed loans to for anybody who's looking to start or grow a business, for working capital, refinance existing business debt, that sort of thing. So we are still working on the final guidance on these enhancements, so stay tuned. But right now, temporary enhancements on the 7A, which is the umbrella with all the different SBA loan products, is being increased for the loan guarantee 75 to 90%, and offering a reduced or no fee for the borrower and the lender. We're also temporarily increasing the 7A express loan limit to 1 million till October 1st, 2021. And we're eliminating the fees for the 504 loan program and favorable terms for refinancing. And that's if you're going to purchase machinery, equipment, you're going to buy a building. Remember, 51% square footage of that building has to be occupied by the business. And increase the aggregate loan limit for microloan intermediaries in order to ensure that, you know, they have the capacity to make loans to underserved community and bank borrowers. So stay tuned. More information will be coming as we improve and make changes to address the needs of the small business community. We also have the SBA's debt relief programs. So the Economic Aid Act really extended this debt relief program where all existing borrowers, if you have an SBA loan, if you remember under previously, SBA was picking up your payments for 6 months, just giving you a little bit of breathing room. So right now, all existing borrowers with loans and regular servicing are going to get 3 months where SBA will pay principal and interest starting in February. We haven't received a date as of yet. That should be coming soon, subject to a $9,000 a month payment. So stay tuned for that. Underserved borrowers are going to receive an additional 5-month principal and interest payment. And for new, if let's say you applied for a new SBA loan between February 1st and September 30th of 2021, SBA is going to make six months of payments. So no 1099s have to be issued on the CARES Act payments. So stay tuned, where we are awaiting further guidance on that. where to get the most accurate information. Please, 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 if you want to know and have the correct information, there's a lot of, information out there floating around. There's a lot of newspapers, articles, folks talking. Please, if you want the most accurate information, go to sba.gov. Under that, there's a coronavirus relief options that will give you all information on all the different disaster loan programs, eligibility, how it works, where to go, everything is listed there, as well as treasury.gov. So this is where you can get the up-to-date, most accurate information that there is. The forms and guidance. So where do you go for these forms? Where is it? Well, again, on the sba.gov website, we have a Paycheck Protection Program section there, and you can get, it's all listed as it says here, first draw PPP loans. So how does it work? Second draw PPP, loan forgiveness, lender information, data. So all this is laid out for you. You can go in and take a look at this 24/7, very detailed, that I think will address a lot of the questions that you have. We even have frequently asked questions. So maybe some of the questions that you have been asked by somebody else before. So where can you get help? We realize it's scary out there. It's not easy. Just know that you're not alone. We, the Small Business Administration, we're the one and only agency created by Congress to help start and grow businesses, whether it be providing technical assistance, counseling and training, access to financing through SBA-backed loans, helping you grow your business, whether it be by exporting your product, or maybe you want to get into the procurement arena, contracting and get some contracts and on your product or service. So just know that you're not alone. And we have resource partners. Oreste and I are 2 of 14 in our office for Massachusetts, but we rely heavily on our resource partners. And these include SCORE, the Small Business Development Center, the Center for Women in Enterprise, and the Veterans Business Outreach Center. They all provide one-on-one business counseling and technical assistance. Right now, in order to keep everyone safe, Oreste, myself, and the rest of our team, we're all working remotely from home, and our resource partners are doing so as well. But you can certainly reach out to them, and they'll set up a consultation, a meeting with you, and meet with you via Skype, Teams, Zoom, whatever works for you, email, phone, and discuss what needs you have, whether you're looking to start, grow a business, or maybe you need help with the disaster, how you've been impacted by the disaster. So please make sure that you reach out to them. In order to find out what the nearest office is, there are 6 Small Business Development Center offices. There are 6 SCORE chapters in the state. There's 2 Women's Business Centers, and there's 1 Veterans Business Outreach Center. You can go to that link below, and that will, once you put your zip code, will connect you to the nearest resource, the resources that are nearest you. Just know they're all part of the SBA family. We all work together, so don't feel like you have to pick and choose. I would encourage you to connect with all of them. I'm sure they'll all have something to provide that can help you to move forward with your business. So if you didn't know us, right now you have 2, 4, 6, 7 new friends, including the SBA. You have us, Oreste, myself, and the rest of our team at the Massachusetts SBA office. You have SCORE, and it has the Northeast because that was the last presentation I did, so I apologize. But if you go to that slide before and you put in your zip code, you'll see that there's 6 SCORE chapters in the state. Also, you have the Small Business Development Centers, which operate out of colleges and universities throughout the state. They provide technical assistance. SCORE is more of a mentoring. They can meet with you and help you navigate how to operate your business in the state of Massachusetts. The Center for Women in Enterprise, we have 2 of them out of 127 nationally, and their mission is to empower women to become economically self-sufficient and prosperous for entrepreneurship. So they have programs starting a business, growing a business. They have an attorney, CPA, and whether you're a woman or a man, everybody's welcome to utilize their services. The Women's Business Center runs our VBOC. They got the grant to run the Veterans Business Outreach Center. So if you are a veteran, or if we have any veterans on the line with us, first and foremost, thank you for your service. We realize at the SBA that many of our veterans had to put their business on hold or their dream of starting a business to go serve our country. So the Veterans Business Outreach Center will connect you with those resources and assistance available to help you as you're getting ready to launch and grow your business. If you are interested in exporting, we have a export center dedicated specifically to exporting. So we can tell you the rules, the regulations. We can help you identify which country would be more likely to want to do business with you based on your product. And if you want to do business with the federal government, we have the Procurement Technical Assistance Center that can help you navigate how to get all of those federal contracts and state contracts to help you grow your business. So I guess now, Danielle, I'll turn it back to you. We can answer some questions, but before we do that, we want to invite you all to follow us on Twitter. Visit our Massachusetts SBA District Office webpage. You can find us at sba.gov/MA. Within that website, you'll see there's a wealth of information. There's a calendar of events, so you'll see that event on here, this event on there, as many others. Every day there's webinars taking place, whether it be Oreste, myself, the rest of our colleagues, or our resource partners. So take a peek. Also, we invite you to subscribe to our newsletter, and this is really important here. So if you go to sba.gov/updates, you'll get our newsletter. We used to publish it quarterly. Now there's so much information. We seem to publish it every other week, I feel like, and you'll be on the pulse of what's going on at SBA. So you'll know what's going on as quickly as Oreste and I know. So we definitely invite you to join our newsletter delivery. Right now it goes out to close to 60,000 people. So without further ado, I'll turn it over back to Danielle.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm going to stop the screen share so we can all see each other.
Okay.
That was so helpful. I was on another Zoom on Monday with a similar presentation, and I learned something new every time I pick up a little tidbit, which is super helpful. So Oreste did a really great job answering questions in the chat. Oreste, are there any questions that were asked in the chat that we did not cover? And then if you have a question that you haven't asked yet, if you want to raise your hand, we'll open it up. Trying to scroll through. It looks like everything was answered in the chat. Colleen? Oh, 1 second, you're muted. There we go.
Hi, I ended up having to close my business this year after 18 years, but I have a business loan with Enterprise Bank, and I was wondering which one of these organizations should I call to see about refinancing that so that I could pay it off at a lower interest rate?
Sure. And you're Colleen?
Yes,
hi, Colleen. I'm
Yep.
Lisa. Let me see.
I'm running my business from home, just so that you know, and I am continuing it, but it's just in a different way.
Okay, sure. So I would recommend reach out to all of them, but the Small Business Development Center, one of their strengths is typically what they can do is they can help folks put together the business plan, but they can help you review your plan. They can review your financials, and they're all doing that. And they can maybe help you assess, what your options are before you move further. So I would definitely, where are you located?
In Lowell.
You're in Lowell. Okay, yep. So that would be the Northeast Small Business Development Center. They operate out of Salem State University.
Okay, yep.
What you would do is you can go to msbdc.org and you can find them, and you can just send them an email, and they'll set up a session to meet with you, and they can review the financials. They have a great team up there.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a question that was asked to me privately in the chat. Is the credit check component done or on EIN or social security number for sole propriety?
So for PPP, there is no credit check.
I was going to say.
Only on the economic injury disaster loan, to my knowledge anyway.
Yeah, and it wasn't specific which program she was referring to, but I think that answered the question. Okay, she's satisfied with that answer. And Oreste, before I didn't realize that you had got kicked out of the Zoom. I was saying I think that every question has been answered in the chat. Correct.
I tried.
Okay. Yeah, I know you did a great job. I know. Let's give them anybody who's been on a Zoom with me before knows I encourage the use of reaction. So let's all give Oreste and Lisa a round of applause.
Thanks.
And will you be able to send us the slideshow so that the presentation?
The slide deck.
Great.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. Does anybody else have any other questions? We were saying before we let everybody in from the waiting room that information has kind of been flowing out at a better, more concise pace than it was back in April. So I think that's why there's not as many questions and as many people attending these sessions, just because people luckily and thankfully have answers to a lot of their questions already.
I did, before I got bounced out, I did put Lisa and my emails in the chat box. So hopefully everyone got those before Zoom crashed on me.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'll we did get those, and I'll, like I said again, I'll send the chat, I'll send the recording of this, I'll send the slide deck and the contact information so that everybody has the tools that they need. Any other questions, or are we getting back like almost 20 minutes of our day?
Wow,
that's amazing. Okay, well, thank you so much to Lisa and Oreste for taking the time to speak with us today. We really appreciate it. You are both a wealth of knowledge, helping so many businesses throughout the Commonwealth. We appreciate you so much. We appreciated you before this. We appreciate you that much more now, and look forward to working with you when COVID is a thing of the past that we can, I don't think we'll ever laugh about, but something that we can move on past from and all grow stronger from. So thank you. And thank you all for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Danielle. Appreciate
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe.
Take care. Bye.
Great. Bye. Thank you.